With respect to the water that is present in the turbine buildings, in Unit 1, water has continued to be pumped into the condenser with 3 pumps, and the water level has reduced from 40 to 20 centimeters. In Unit 2, pumping of water from the condensate storage tank into the surge tank was started so that the condenser can be drained to the condensate storage tank, and contaminated water can be pumped out from the turbine building into the condenser. And Miroslav will show you a bit more later how this all works. The same process of pumping the water from the condensed water storage tank into the surge tank was started out at Unit 3 on March 28th. Near Unit 3 buildings, 3 workers spilled water over themselves when removing a flange from seawater pipes on the residual heat removal system. After showering, contamination was no longer detected. Now turning to reactor pressure vessels, fresh water has been continuously injected into the reactor pressure vessel through feed water line at an indicated rate of 8 cubic meters per hour, and that is for Unit 1. The pumping of fresh water into the reactor pressure vessel has been switched now from fire trucks to temporary electrical pumps with a diesel generator. At Units 2 and 3, fresh water is being injected continuously through the fire extinguisher line at an indicated rate of 7 cubic meters per hour using a temporary electric pump. Well, basically, it means that it's feed and bleed. It means feed water into the reactors, and what goes out through different ways. The indicated temperature at the feed water nozzle of reactor pressure vessel in Unit 1 has decreased from 323 degrees to 281. But it is still a high temperature. And at the bottom of the reactor pressure vessel, the temperature remains stable at 134 degrees. There is a corresponding decrease in dry well pressure. At Unit 2, the temperature of the feed water nozzle of the reactor pressure vessel has increased from 154 to 177 degrees. And at the bottom of the reactor pressure vessel, it has also increased from 78 to 88 degrees Celsius. Indicated dry well pressure remains at atmospheric pressure. For Unit 3, the indicated temperature at the feed water nozzle is about 75 degrees Celsius, when at the bottom of the reactor pressure vessel, it is about 116 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately, the validity of reactor pressure vessel temperatures are still a bit dubious, and they are under investigation. With respect to the spent fuel pools, it was planned to commence the pumping of water into Unit 1 spent fuel pool by concrete pumping trucks from 29th of March. But we have received no information on the implementation. So maybe it's going on, maybe it is not. We don't have the information. As concerns Unit 2, from 29th of March, pumping of fresh water into the spent fuel pool commenced via a temporary electrical pump. And the temperature of the spent fuel pool is 46 degrees Celsius on 29th March. And for Unit 4, as for Unit 1, it was planned to commence pumping fresh water into the spent fuel pool, but again, we have no information whether it has started or not. Units 5 and 6, they remain in cold shutdown. Now, going to radiation monitoring. The majority of the recently measured radioactivity levels in drinking water are being reported below the levels established by the Japanese authorities, which are, I remember you, 100 becquerels per liter of iodine 131 for infants, 300 becquerels per liter for adults, and 200 becquerels per liter of cesium-137 for both infants and adults. Previously imposed recommendations for restrictions on drinking water are being lifted in most of the affected locations. And as of 28th of March, recommendations for restriction based on iodine-131 concentration remain in place in one village in the Fukushima prefecture. In 3 other locations of the Fukushima prefecture, restrictions continue to apply for infants only. Now, 2 IAEA teams are currently monitoring radiation levels and radioactivity in the environment in Japan. On 29th of March, one team made gamma dose rate measurements in the Tokyo region at 8 locations. And gamma dose rates measured ranged from 0.02 to 0.19 microsievert per hour, which is within or slightly above the background. The second team made additional measurements at distances of 32 to 62 kilometers at directions north to northwest from the Fukushima nuclear power plant. At these locations, the dose rates ranged from 0.5 to 6.8 microsieverts per hour. And at the same locations, results of beta-gamma contamination measurements ranged from 0.05 to 0.45 megabecquerel per square meter. Now, based on measurements of iodine-131 and cesium-137 in soil sampled from 18 to 26th March in 9 municipalities at distances ranging from 25 to 58 kilometers from Fukushima, the total average deposition of iodine-131 and cesium-137 has been calculated. The results indicate a pronounced spatial variability of the total deposition of iodine-131 and cesium-137. The average total deposition determined at these locations for iodine, they range for iodine from 0.2 to 25 megabecquerel per square meter, and for cesium-137 from 0.02 to 3.7 megabecquerel per square meter. The highest values were found in a relatively small area in the northwest from the Fukushima nuclear power plant. And the first assessment indicates that one of the IAEA operational criteria for evacuation is exceeded in Iitate village. We have advised the counterpart to carefully assess the situation, and they have indicated that it is already under assessment. As far as food contamination is concerned, 35 samples taken from 25th to 29th of March and reported on 29th of March for various vegetables, fruit, seafood, pork, and unprocessed raw milk in 9 prefectures stated that results for iodine-131, cesium-134, and cesium-137 were either not detected or were below the regulation values set by the Japanese authorities. Now going to the joint FAO-IAEA Food Safety Assessment Team. It met with local government officials in Tochigi Prefecture on 29th of March and provided advice related to contamination of food and the environment. Local government officials briefed the joint FAO-IAEA team on the extent of contamination in Tochigi, the principal agricultural products affected, the main production areas and production methods, and levels of contamination found, and also on imminent plans to monitor soil contamination. A field visit also took place to a spinach producer outside Utsunomiya city. Based on these latest discussions with the Tochigi authorities, it is apparent that the focus of the joint FAO-IAEA mission has changed to some extent from the mechanisms of contamination to remediation strategies and techniques related to plant and animal production, food traceability, and water-soil characterization. This team is also meeting with the local government officials in Gunma Prefecture today. As concerns marine monitoring stations, we have no new results from the 30-kilometer offshore, as well as from close to the discharge. So no results were reported while we prepared this brief since 27th of March. One IAEA staff member of the Monaco Marine Laboratory will fly to Japan on 31st March, tomorrow, in order to join the Japanese team assessing marine environment. And the IAEA continues activities under the Joint Radiation Emergency Management Plan of the international organizations, the J-Plan, through regular video and teleconferences. As of March 30, we must also note that the WHO liaison officer is now working in the IEC. And in response to a request from the agency to member states, to neighboring states from Japan, to be clear, which asked for providing the agency with data measurement, the IAEC has received information from Singapore, and the Singapore authorities have sent reports on measurements in food imported from Japan, namely cabbages. Some samples were over the Codex Alimentarius values recommended for international trade. But on the other hand, in Singapore, no increase in gamma dose rates have been observed, and no fission products have been found in air samples.